So, with the recent popularity in stock trading on social media and in the news, I wanted to do a little research. I mean, it sounds like free money. By following different trends and information about a stock, the goal is to buy a share when the price is low and sell when it gets high. But as time went on, I found more and more patterns of how the price of a stock behaves over time. And so I asked myself, is it possible to predict the price of a stock with code? I mean, the idea of sitting back and letting a computer make money for you sounds appealing, so I had to try it out. Now, this was a difficult challenge to take. I mean, how do you get all this information about a stock and manipulate it in such a way that a program could predict where it would go? Well, this is what I learned. There are two ways I could go about this problem. Number one was to use AI. My idea was to have a neural network predict the price of a stock over a time interval that already happened, so it could learn from what actually did happen and tune it until it could theoretically predict the future. This sounded like the best way, but for the scope of the project and the knowledge I had at the time, I went with a different option, which was with statistics. Now, statistics is a subject I've always had an interest in, and luckily it was a good solution for our problem. I'm using what's called regression analysis, a model that, given a set of data, can create a function that best fits the data, and with that function predict the price of a stock at any given moment in time, even the future. So with that in mind, this is what I came up with. If you look at a stock chart, it's simply price as a function of time. As time increases, the price of the stock changes. And even without the other variables, such as volume or RSI, you can find and discover recurring patterns just between these two variables. We see stocks trends upwards and downwards constantly. This allowed me to use time as my independent variable, and the price as my dependent variable. If I can take the price of a stock at any given point in time and treat it as a scatter plot, I would have a massive pool of data to fine-tune our function. Now, what's great about regression analysis is that there are different functions I can use depending on the data. I can use linear, exponential, and even logarithmic functions to fit our data. So our new problem became, how do I get this data? This part was actually the easiest. Using Python, I downloaded the Yahoo Finance API, allowing me to access intervals of stock data at any moment. Given a symbol, period of time, and interval of time, the Y Finance database returns tons of information about the stock and that period of time at each time interval, such as its highest and lowest price. So all I had to do was, given for 3 parameters, fetch the data and extract each highest price. After that, I used the pandas library to generate a function that best fits our data. And with that, our first test. So there's a lot to unpack here, but I'll go step by step what it all means. Firstly, we can see both the predicted high and low prices in a linear form. And seeing the actual stock graph, it's not looking too far off. I could totally see it hitting this price, so that's a point for us. However, here is the R-squared value, or the coefficient of determination, which is the proportion of variation in the dependent variable that is predictable from the independent variable, or in easier terms, how accurate our function is to the actual data. Now, in the statistics world, an R-squared of 0.7 is considered good, so that's not looking good for us at all. So what do we make of this? Well, in terms of following patterns and determining trends, it does a decent job. But given how much the price of a stock fluctuates, it isn't going to be perfect. Overall, I'd say it's a success, but what do you think? If you're interested in this project, I've made it in much simpler to understand Python, with visuals and graphics. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments and tell me what you guys want to see me make next.